Everyone makes mistakes, and we would all like to be afforded a second chance when we do. But what happens when that second chance comes back to bite us? On today's case, Mrs. Hall says her marriage is hanging on by a thread, and she's not sure she wants to save it. She's been lied to, cheated on, and disrespected publicly by the one person who is supposed to love her unconditionally, her husband. Mrs. Hall says that while conducting an investigation into her husband's fidelity, she discovered he may have a special delivery that could cost him his marriage. Mr. Hall says he is desperate to salvage his relationship with his wife and is begging her to leave the past in the past. Let's hear their case.
Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Starr presiding. Your Honor, this is the case of Hall versus Hall.
Thank you very much. Mr. and Mrs. Hall. Mrs. Hall, you are here in court today because you say your husband's womanizing has contributed to the demise of your marriage. You say he tricked you into marrying him by keeping a devastating secret from you. And now, after 4 months, you say you want this marriage to be over.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Hall, you're here today because you hope to salvage your marriage. You want to prove to your wife that you have not cheated, and you want to work on rebuilding the trust in your marriage.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Hall, you all have known each other for a very long time. I understand you met back in 2009. You dated for a while and then you broke up. Why don't you tell me what got us here today, Mrs. Hall?
Yes, Your Honor. My husband and I, we met in college at 2009 at an all-white party, Your Honor. So my husband back then, he had dreads. He's kind of cute. So I saw him at a party. He was taking pictures with a bunch of girls. Then finally, he came up to me and we took a photo. I was like, okay, nice. He's kind of cute. Took the picture, and then from there, Your Honor, we just started hanging out. We started going to parties together. We started going to clubs. He does comedy, so I started going to his shows. And we just started hanging out. I was at his house all the time, and so we dated for about a year.
And dated for a year, but at some point, it broke up. How was it when it first started out?
Like she said, Judge, we met at an all-white party. I was looking good, and she was looking good as well, and I was just dating, you know? I was having a good time at the party, drinking, meeting everybody, taking pictures with everybody. Of course, she stood out to me, but like she said, we were dating.
Your Honor, we were together, Your Honor.
What does that mean when you say we were together? Because, you know, young people nowadays, they have different definitions.
We didn't sign any paperwork.
So there's like
No, Your
dating, hooking up, friends
Your
with
Honor.
benefits. What was going on?
We were in a relationship. Like, we were together. We went out all the time. We hung out. We used to study together. He even asked me if I needed a key to his apartment, Your Honor. So we were officially in a relationship. We were together for like a year, which is a long time in college.
And then what happened?
So then, after being together about a year, right, I was on social media. And so he posted a picture.
You know social media is the devil. You know I believe that.
Your Honor. See, and back then it was still new, so people weren't really on game. So he posted a photo. I was looking at his comments like, oh, okay. And then I saw somebody put a comment with hearts and a smiley face. So of course, Your Honor, I had to do my research.
That means your spidey senses went right off.
Exactly, Your Honor. Everyone else was like, oh, okay, you look okay. Some girl put a comment with hearts and smiley faces. I was like, well, who's this? I don't know her. So I clicked on her page. You know, I had to do my little research. And I see a picture with him and the girl all hugged up. So I know, because of the party, he likes to take pictures with girls. So I'm like, okay. So, Your Honor, he came to my house, and I caught him at the door. I didn't even let him come in. He opened the door, I opened the door, and I was like, who is this?
Oh, you went straight squeak from Color Purple. Who this woman, Harpo?
Your Honor, I had to know. I had to know, because I really was into him. I really loved him. So he came to the door, and I had my phone in his face, like, who is this? What is this? And he was like, well, it's not like we're married.
Whoa, that was not the right response.
Exactly, Your Honor. So I was pissed, and I slammed the door in his face, like, I'm done. I'm done.
Your Honor, we met in college. I was
Okay.
19 at the
Oh,
time.
no judgment whatsoever. You are entitled to get your party on. You're entitled to date as many women as you want. But what you're not entitled to do is to lead somebody into believing that they're your one and only, and then expect them to acquiesce if that's not true.
Agreed.
That's the difference, okay? That comes with maturity.
Agreed, but if we're together, at that time, you're my one and only because we're dating. And then if I'm dating somebody else, you're my one and only because I'm dating. I'm not in an official
We
relationship.
were in an official relationship,
Your Honor,
Your Honor.
I never asked her to be
I was
my
at
girlfriend.
his
We
house.
were
I was at your
spending
house
time
all
together.
the time.
So
all
my
the
children are
time.
at my house all the time. We're not in a relationship.
Okay, but here's my question, Mr. Hall, just so that we're very clear about this, because you all were the only ones that could define that relationship, and I get it.
Right.
If your then girlfriend was dating and taking pictures with other men and sleeping with other men, how would you have felt about that?
Your Honor, if she was in entertainment and she was taking a picture with a fan who liked what I
You see
did,
this, Your
I
Honor?
wouldn't have a problem with that.
Mr.
like
Hall,
she said.
Lies.
Mr. Hall, I can tell you right now, this girl, we weren't talking about a fan. Okay? That's not what we're talking about. You and I both know. It's one thing for you to say I was 19, I was getting my swerve on, and I didn't see it as a monogamous relationship, because that's fair. You are a young man, you are allowed to get your party on as much as you want. But you know there are ramifications if you're dating someone who's not that kind of chick. There are.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's just the rule. Because I get the feeling you didn't tell her that you were out there dating lottie-dottie and everybody because you knew she wasn't that kind of chick. Because there are some girls that say, that's okay, you go do you, I'm gonna do me. There are definitely some ladies that do that.
There are some ladies
Then you
that
need
do
to get you one of them, because that's not the kind of chick she is.
But I was
you.
dating, Your Honor. I had one of them, and I had
Thank
her
you.
as well because, once again, we were not in an official relationship.
Okay.
I was focusing on my studies.
Got it.
I was focusing on school.
We hung out for about a year. This time we really were just getting to know each other.
And you were dating this time.
We were dating this time. I said, I'm not going through this again. Let me make sure.
Your Honor, I believe you can be in a relationship and have a relationship. We had a relationship. That's why she contacted
You
me.
sound like the younger black version of Bill Clinton. It depends on the meaning of is. So you said at the time, okay, go with God. You go do what you gonna do, because I'm gonna go do what I'm gonna do.
Exactly, Your Honor.
How in the ham sandwich did y'all get back together?
Well, Your Honor, time went past. And in 2019, I had to go to LA. So I went to LA for some work, and I remember Mr. Hall lived there. So I said, you know, I don't know anyone else in LA. Let me see what Mr. Hall is up to. So I reached out to Mr. Hall via social media. Hey, how are you? Are you still in town? And so Mr. Hall responded, and from there we hung out. So we started hanging out, and I noticed Mr. Hall had changed. He was more mature.
Okay.
So
That's what happens when you go from 19 to 29.
Exactly. So, you know, I said, okay, we can hang out. So we hung out for about a year, and this time we really were just getting to know each other.
And you were
then
dating this time.
We were dating this time.
Okay, we're not in a relationship.
We're not in a relationship.
Okay,
Your Honor.
we're establishing the difference,
We're not.
okay?
Exactly. So exactly, we were not in a relationship, we were dating. And then the following year, I said, okay, he's matured, he's serious. So now we can date. Now we are official. Let's become an official couple.
Let me
And
make sure and check with Mr. Hall. Did he feel the same way?
We were dating.
At that point, we were in a relationship. 2020, at that point, we were in a relationship. We had a conversation about our relationship and dating. I said, I'm not going through this again. Let me make sure.
Your Honor, I believe you can be in a relationship and have a relationship. You have a relationship with different people, but being in a relationship is different. And we were speaking about, we had a relationship, that's why she contacted me.
You sound like the younger black version of Bill Clinton. It depends on the meaning of is.
That's why we have dictionaries, so we know the definition of words and how they were used.
We defined that. We were dating, 2019, 2020, we were in a relationship.
You know what, it's so very interesting because two highly intelligent people had completely different interpretations of what was going on. Mr. Hall, again, no judgment, because at 29, you can still be partying and do what you want to do. You can date, several ladies, but did you say to now Mrs. Hall, we're dating, but I am gonna still be dating other people. Did y'all have that kind of conversation? Because that's how, mature couples act. Did y'all have
Did we have that conversation?
We had that conversation that we were dating and we were trying to figure things out, but there was no other people. Because I didn't know, I didn't ask her, are you dating other people? I just assumed we rekindled and we were trying to figure things out.
Your
we were
Honor,
hanging out, spending time together.
We had a conversation that we were together.
I don't remember
We
that
were dating, then we got in a relationship.
It's so interesting, Mrs. Hall, because I can't imagine that you would not have sat down and said, now look, let me just make sure that we're all clear about who we are and what we're doing. So Malcolm,
Your Honor.
I feel like I was there. So Malcolm, I want to know where we stand right now. Because before I roll down this again, baby, I can't do it again with you. I can just imagine that this is the conversation.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You thought you were in a relationship.
We were.
And at some point,
Yes.
it's very clear, Mr. Hall, you did too, because you asked her to be your wife.
Later.
Okay, so you were seeing other people. Is that fair to say?
I wasn't seeing, yes, I was seeing
You
other
were
people.
seeing other.
Did you know that he was seeing other people?
I did not, Your Honor.
If you'd like your case to be heard on divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at divorcecourt.com. Missed a show? Watch full episodes on our streaming platforms and follow us on social media for exclusive content.
I asked him specifically, how do you define a relationship? Are we dating or are we together? Because as you see, Your Honor, he lies. He likes to talk in circles.
Your Honor, I'm a child of God. I tell the truth all the time.
We came up with what
And
our
that was a lie.
relationship is.
Okay, Mark Furman, I never said the N-word before ever in my life. Come on now.
There are a
you
lot of
know good
N-words.
well you lied before, so stop that. I didn't even ask you to go there. That's called you. See, you don't have to lie about little stuff, because, see, those are obvious lies. Everybody lies.
Exactly.
And I'm a pretty good girl, and I try not to lie. But there's no way in the world I would ever be standing in the courtroom and say, I am a child of God. I don't ever lie. I'm not gonna say that. I'll be afraid that the Lord himself will come down and strike me in these cute shoes and I would fall out. I really would be afraid. So you know that wasn't true. Come on, sir.
Your Honor, everybody lies. But
So you lied.
I didn't say I lied about that.
Okay. We're not gonna fight about that. What I wanna talk about is you thought you were in a relationship.
We were.
And at some point,
Yes.
it's very clear, Mr. Hall, you did too, because you asked her to be your wife.
Later.
Okay, how long ago was this?
This was, when I asked her to get married, this was at the end of 2021, going into 2022.
But when did you determine in your head, I am in a relationship with this woman? Because it's not like you are dating on Wednesday and on Friday night you go, you know what? She could be my wife. Because you do need to be in a relationship unless you were drunken in Vegas or something.
Being that
Exactly.
our prior situation, I was trying to figure some things out in my life. I wanted to make sure everything was right on my end before I asked her to be in an official relationship. That means there were no other women involved. I had everything where I needed to be so I can commit to her as I am now.
And you did.
As I am now.
And you did.
And when was that, Mrs. Hall?
Your Honor, we were in a relationship 2020. All of 2020, we were in a relationship.
We were in the middle of a pandemic, Mrs. Hall.
Exactly.
Where
Your
did
Honor.
you all sort of shelter in place?
At his place. So I don't know when he had time to do all this stuff, Your Honor. So again, we were in a relationship. We were both home pretty much all of 2020.
Everybody was. From like March 2020, when the country locked down, were y'all locked down together?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
You do agree with that, Mr. Hall. Y'all were
I do
locked
agree
down
with that.
together.
Exactly.
So,
We weren't locked down together the whole year, though. We, like I said, we rekindled later, and we were just dating.
but in 2020, you could barely be in the room with somebody unless you were 6 feet apart. They didn't want you to do anything. That's when the pandemic was really starting. I remember it was March 12th when they shut it down. I personally didn't leave my house except for an hour a week. My husband wouldn't let me go out anywhere. He was afraid. I'm a heart disease survivor. He was afraid that if I got contaminated, I'd die. So he said, we're gonna shelter in place right here. I learned to play dominoes, Uno. We watched everything Netflix had, okay? We got a fire stick. We did everything because he was like, you're not going nowhere. We're not dying, okay? Mm-hmm. And he kept me safe and sound. I never left the spot except for an hour a week until mid-June. My hand to the Lord. Now, that's a complete truth. So I can't imagine that, you know, everybody around the country, they were finding situations where they could shelter with somebody that they could be with. So are you telling me y'all didn't do that together? Y'all didn't share and spend that time and get to know each other and know for certain that was your girl?
In her eyes, it was different. I was trying to figure some things out, Your Honor. Like I said, we were dating. I was trying to figure.
So you were seeing other people. Is that fair to say?
I wasn't seeing. Yes, I was seeing other people.
You were seeing other.
Did you know that he was seeing other people?
I did not, Your Honor.
When did it change and you all decide, okay, we both agree we're in a relationship, we both agree that it's time to move to something permanent? When did that occur? Is there a date?
2020, Your Honor.
During 2020, Your Honor, we were dating, so I was still seeing other people and whatnot because we weren't in an official relationship. There was someone from my past that I met up with. We ended up going to have dinner, and she popped up with she popped up with a child. So
how do you just pop up with a child?
We had a random meeting prior to, and we hooked up one time, and then she popped up, you know, maybe a year or so later, and said that this child was mine. I didn't know that.
So you're basically saying this was an on-break baby, meaning you didn't consider yourself in a permanent relationship.
Yes.
You hooked up with somebody. Did you have a relationship with this person?
No, it was
a one-night stand kind of situation.
One-night stand.
And obviously, one-night stands, that's all it takes.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so this young woman became pregnant as a result of that one-night stand.
Yes.
Did you?
You see, Your Honor,
how'd you find out?
Your Honor, I didn't know about that. Had I known about that before we got married, we wouldn't even be here.
Your Honor,
so,
in my defense, I didn't know the baby was mine. It was a one-night stand. I didn't know who this woman was dealing with either. So she could have been dealing with some other people.
Yeah, in other words, she could have been dating also.
She could have been dating also.
How did you find out about this? Because I'm curious. How'd you find out about the
baby?
The baby, yeah.
Well, she wanted to meet at a restaurant, so I figured we'd go out and hang out and have some food.
Oh.
And she brought a child with her.
Oh.
I didn't know whose child it was. I thought she could have been babysitting, her niece or nephew. I didn't know whose kid it was.
This sounds like a bad R&B song that you're at a restaurant, the woman comes in with a baby, and the baby is yours.
It could be. Hopefully it's a hit song. But the thing is, I didn't know whose baby it was. She could have hooked up with somebody else.
So when did this occur, Mr. Hall? I just want to try to get the dates.
This occurred a couple months before we got married.
But you see, Your Honor, you didn't tell me.
Because I didn't know the baby was mine.
Baby. You didn't tell me that.
I wasn't sure. I wouldn't tell somebody something I'm not sure. I'm not going to tell you gotten fired unless I know you lost your job.
No,
I want to be sure of all the facts.
Mr. Hall,
kept
Mr. Hall, wait a minute.
Miss
Miss Hall, just a second. Were you living with now Mrs. Hall at that time? Next time on Divorce Court.
Any woman can show up with a 5-year-old say that baby's
That's
mine.
correct.
Until I have proof,
How could you
I don't know
propose to
that.
me knowing that you had a potential baby and not tell me?
It was random.
You already
that would be
knew
a
how I
lot
felt
to have
about
told
that.
you and not knowing it to be true.
Why didn't you get a DNA test?
Life was moving. We had a lot going on.
Had I known this, I wouldn't even have got married to Mr. Hall. I thought he changed. And then, Your Honor, to top it off, the baby mother is the same girl he cheated on me in college with.
Shut up!
The same girl, Your Honor.
The heck up! No, you didn't say that.
Your Honor, when you know somebody, it's kind of easy just to, hey, how you been doing? Everything good? What's going on? I'm doing
And then
this
your
and
penis
that.
just chops out your pants, and then you just jump in the bed.
Not in the first 5 minutes.
But don't you know that you have somebody that you are committed to?